Hi everyone, my name is Mike. I'm head of customer success here, and sorry for starting this session a little bit later. Uh, but we will try to share some fruitful insights with you today, so no worries, and be at the same time short and sweet. A quick background about me: I've been working with MarTech and AdTech for more than 7 years already, working with media measurements, with e-commerce, and for the last 4 years with AdTech, Apple Ads, and App Store optimization. And maybe a quick fun fact about me: I'm a left handed person. Once in a life, I tried to write something down by my right hand, and it was a complete disaster. Uh, and today with me is an absolute legend, Thomas. So I'm happy to pass the mic to Thomas. I guess, yeah, Thomas is connecting. Thomas, can you hear us?
There we go. I'm here, finally.
Finally.
You can tell we don't use Zoom here at Dentsu, so apologies everyone for waiting. But yeah, Mike, I just heard your intro. Yeah, my name's Thomas Tierney. I work for Dentsu on the app performance and gaming team. I've been here now for 3 years coming up. I've worked closely with Mike and the SplitMetrics team pretty much my entire time since I've been here. And yeah, background, I came from client side, so I worked for Holland and Barrett, growing their app there, and really enjoy sort of getting stuck into the nitty gritty of things in terms of app performance and expanding now into the gaming realms as well. As we all know, there's huge potential there and huge opportunity. And I guess I'll just follow on Mike's fun fact thing. I didn't know you were a lefty, by the way. But fun fact for me is I actually really like singing, which is probably a bit random, but yeah, I think it's my favorite pastime. My missus will probably say it's annoying, but you always feel like you've got a good voice no matter what she says. But yeah, that's me.
That's fantastic, Thomas. I should hear you sing one day. So
You don't.
yeah, and so as Ariana already mentioned, we will talk about the automation today, and we will present our joint case study with Thomas. And working with Thomas and Dentsu team, it's like the pleasure all the time. So we are more than happy to share these results and insights with you today. But before that, a very quick intro of SplitMetrics as well. So we've been developing the automation for user acquisition and App Store for more than 10 years already, and for the last 4 years, and we've been heavily investing into the AI. But what we understood that with AI, you can build everything, but you need also the human support there. So that's why this session is about how we can combine the automation and AI and how it can help us to be more productive at the end of the day. And let's start with the challenge. So let's be honest, all the AI user acquisition managers are doing like a lot of stuff at the moment, a tons of stuff, and it sometimes is getting too hectic. So, Thomas, maybe you can share your experience, what is expected, and I guess it's a lot from UA managers today.
Yeah, so I guess there's probably a lot of people on the webinar today that are in the same boat. Start of the week, absolute chaos. Reports are going out, clients, especially in the agency world. But yeah, clients asking for data, always looking for sort of insights, and you're responding to emails, you come back over the weekend. So I guess as us, we are sort of like multi-talented in terms of time scale, but also looking at the wider strategy of things, which I guess for a lot of people, up until this huge boom and bubble of AI, has been sort of very mundane tasks. And it actually sort of, I think, in a way, makes you less want to work because you get a bit bored of doing the same things week in, week out. And I guess that's where this conversation is going today in terms of automation and just making our lives a hell of a lot easier, which I think a lot of people are scared of. And I understand that. And it's to be expected. Like AI is going to rob our jobs, but it's not. It's how we use it and how we take advantage of it in terms of giving us a lot more freedom to do the roles that we're actually hired to do for our clients and also for the businesses we work for.
Yeah, that's for sure. it's like a tons of tasks and you really get bored. And yeah, if we can go to the next slide, uh, and even one after. So the truth also Thomas has been sharing that like we are doing a lot, like the campaigns, the keywords, all like you should be on the top of the seasonal trends, viral trends, the competition and what they are doing, and at the end driving these meaningful results. But at the same time, along with that result, it could be like you getting like a lot of hectic workload. You can get tired a lot. You can slower your scaling at the same time, miss some very important opportunities. And like when you're doing this competitive task all over again, you can have less time to focus on the next big step in the strategy. And that's getting really annoying sometimes, I guess. What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, 100% agree. And it's something that I say to everyone on my team. I think burnout is a very, very obvious thing when you're looking at someone. However, internally, I think you don't understand when you start to burn out. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why so many people shift jobs so many times in the marketing world is they don't understand. Yes, there's more opportunity out there, but also I think if you just take a step back and just realize just your workload alone and what capacity you're at in terms of your time, just doing those daily tasks can be very exhausting. So if you actually look at the grand scale of things and what you're actually spending time doing, I guess for a lot of us on this call, you're probably looking at about 30% of your day, of your week, sorry, should I say, is actually looking at strategy, scale, and really getting stuck into the nitty gritty. Over the rest of it is just literally responding to emails and being on calls, which is frustrating and it is part of the job, but it's now how do we find that balance in what we're doing?
That's for sure. And actually, today we're gonna discuss how this can be solved, how we can get from this daily grid to automated growth. And let's have a look on, I guess, on the next slide. And on the left, you can see what is happening without automation. Like you should work with like beats and budgets management all day long sometimes, like switching between the dashboard, checking everything. And sometimes it's not leading to that high expected results. But on the right, you can see what it can be done with the help of the automation and how you can just automate almost everything like keyword research, beats, budgets, and at the same time focus on like just dedicate some time to replying to all the emails and all the correspondence, and at the end of the day have a solid bench of you working time dedicated to strategy, thinking about the next steps, about the creatives and so on. So I guess this is how you can make your work at the end of the day more productive.
Yeah,
And
and I agree. Sorry, Mike, carry on.
go on.
I was going to say I just agree with it, and I think it also comes down to like I'm not just blowing smoke or split metrics, but it comes down to the UI itself as well. I know a lot of people on the call are probably used to using Apple search ads, and I'm not saying that it's a bad UI. It's just I think having that user friendly interface is key, and the simplicity of the tool as well. Like when we're looking at setting up everything on the right hand side, at first I will say it's very intimidating. Like when I first came onto the platform, it it was like a lot of data in it, but once you understand it and once the team take you through it, it's actually very easy to use, and you don't realize like how efficient you can actually become to some points where you're like, I don't actually have to do anything. And that's, I think, for us is especially on that bottom point, just scaling efficiently without burning out the team. That's my priority. That's, I want my team doing what we're meant to be doing, not wasting their time just changing bids and looking at the data.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I guess as we have a big crowd today, we're also interested to hear what do you feel about the uh, level of automation that you have in your growth plans and your tools. So I guess we're just seeing the first poll of the today's session. And actually, how automated are your current growth process at? You can rate it from 0 to 70+%. So let's see what would be the results. We'll give you a bit of a moment to answer, and then we'll see the results. But at the end of the day, it really also come with the leadership team, as Thomas shared. When you care about your team, you want to make the processes automated because at the end, their productivity is also your productivity. So it would be valid even if you're an individual contributor or you're managing the team. Thinking about how can you automate all the workflows should be way important for you. And as we can see from the results, the automation level is not that high yet, and there are definitely a lot of blind spots that we can cover even during today's session, I guess. So I guess we can go with the next slide. And to put some red line to our previous slides, so what automation can do is essentially shift you from the operator status to strategic driver, because when you stack with all this operational backlog, you definitely want to free some time from a strategic tasks. And this is essentially what this success story is about. So I'm happy to pass the mic to Thomas to share what was his findings with the Dentsu team about how the automation can drive growth.
Perfect. I'm not going to take all the glory for this. This was with the help of Mike, and it's a client that we've worked on. I'm sure the team at SplitMetrics will share in the chat the actual case study online, so you can all have a read afterwards as well. But it's a client we have worked on for, I think, five years here at Dentsu, and one of the issues that we've always had is scale. It is a popular, well-known brand in the industry. It's an on the go food retailer. I can never say that, but I think for us, we always struggled in terms of scale, and a lot of people will be familiar with this in terms of ASA has always been and always will be predominantly branded activity when you're such a large brand like what we see here. And one of the things we faced was like limitations in terms of budgets, which I'm guessing everyone has that same issue. We all wish we had more money. We all wish we could spend and have a blank check. So we had to be really smart in terms of the offer and what was happening during this time period, during the promotional period. And that's where SplitMetrics really came in and helped us out to really showcase what we could do and how we could show up on Apple search ads. And we utilize multiple sort of automated rules. So this is looking at day partitioning and switching our bids throughout different times of the day. So we're actually showcasing when we want to be live. And for this brand, it was particularly over lunchtime, where we really wanted to showcase our CPP that we had created for the event itself, which is pretty much like a double points sort of process. And then during the alternative hours that we weren't live, when I say we weren't live, we decreased our bids when we know that demand is low, but we also just showcased the default page because we know it wasn't relevant to the user. There was only a certain time period where if you went into store, you would get the double stamps. Now, you could imagine doing this on a platform like Apple Search Ads. It's very difficult and it's a lot of manual work and it can be quite stressful. And I think one of the things that for us was the incremental scale that was available. We were able to strategically bid on our competitors, and we're talking about big players in the market who are probably spending 6, 7 figures a year just on Apple search ads. So we're a very small piece of the pie, but the brand did carry a lot of weight. And I think what really helped us was understanding that we could still stay efficient during these hours. So when we look at the results of what we actually did, if I go on to the next slide, I think it's there. We increased our installs by 158%. Now, there was only around a 20% increase in our CPIs. And what was interesting was our CPTs remained flat month on month, which I thought was mental, but it actually happened. Like me and Sarah had to double check several times that the data was actually correct. So from going in a month where we were only bidding pretty much on brand search terms, we've then gone in on all of our competitors, big players in the markets, your Costas, your McDonald's. I can name them because they're not our clients, so it's okay. But you can imagine they've got a big app presence in the market, and we were definitely showing up and pushing them out of the way to the point where we were even ranking #1 in the App Store. Now, I know this is a vanity metric for most apps, but it's still great to see that we can actually get up there and rub shoulders with the big players in the market. But it weren't just what we did in terms of with the app itself, it's what it did for us as a team. It was less time looking at reports, understanding CPT bids. It was making adjustments once a week whilst the campaign was live, because we knew that the AI and the automation was doing what we wanted it to do. Whereas if we didn't have this in place, it's something we probably would have spent an hour or 2 hours a day checking, pulling the information, and changing everything that we needed to change. And then backtracking back to how this affected the client's perception of the channel is it increased our spend levels, and the client was more than happy to start spending more money with us through Apple, which in the past was always a tough nut to crack. So with the help of the AI and the automation itself, it's really opened up sort of new opportunities for us and new incremental scale. And I think one of the things that SplitMetrics have been working on is definitely being more, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't, when you make something new. So I'm bad with words, I apologize, but always looking for something new, always being first into market with sort of new features. And I think the big standout for me is now the automation when it comes to creative. I think globally, I think the percentage that came out on App Tweak the other week was like 31% of apps globally are only using custom product pages, which I know they're not there to shift the dial and they're not going to make huge changes, but I think if a platform is offering you a space to shout out about alternative messaging, you should take advantage of that. And now that you can have 70 of them live at any time, up from 35 of what it used to be, I think with this new automation tool and all the AI bidding that we do have in place now with SplitMetrics, we can scale. We could switch out CPPs on the hourly if we wanted to, and try alternative messaging that way. Not saying we're going to do that, Mike. I don't want to put more work into your hands, but it just shows you the potential that it's got. But I think for us, I think it was definitely an eye opener, and it came at the right time, especially for the brand that we were working with. And we've seen how app can work hand in hand with huge out of home budgets and actually increase the performance overall and actually change the perception of what the app is and where it stands internally in the business as well. Don't know if I'll move on. I think I've
Yeah.
already covered all this, Mike. Do you want me to keep moving?
Yeah, we'll be very short and sweet. And I also want to say a bit here that is really about combination of this human effort and AI effort, because it's really about how Thomas and the team had the great ideas. We want to achieve this, and this is the idea. And then we from the Split Metrics have this idea and we try to automate it. So this is how really we can work with synergy, combining the great ideas from the team that Thomas shared and then implemented them with our automation. And as Thomas shared already, we'll have a I would put this as a race of what actually been done and what steps been taken to automate all the different perspectives, not only like bidding, budgeting, but also CVP's rotation or keyword discovery. So we can have this short and sweet walk through the steps that have been done towards achieving this goal. So let's see how this goes. Yes, yeah, Thomas, if you can switch it. Okay, that looks great. So actually, we can be very short and sweet, not switching step by step, but see all of them in a list. And yeah, first of all, automation of bidding and budgeting. So we can start with a keyword automation, then replacing even some small manual work with some automation workflows. So then we don't need to spend like the whole day or dedicate the half-hour day to change all the bids manually, all the optimization manually, but that just start our day with a morning hygiene check, see how the automation works, and then focus on more strategic things. Run competitive reviews and see who's bidding. We're using the insights and competitor insights also available in SplitMetrics. And definitely something that Thomas has been highlighting and which was like a perfect idea, understanding not only, okay, this is a user acquisition, what I can do with it, but looking also beyond. Okay, we work in this to go food industry. What we can do here? Can we implement any weekly, daily, monthly trends to our bidding performance and automation? And this is how the team came up with analyzing the spend trends and understanding the peak performance windows during the day and the week, and making the most of the automating this process as well. So yeah, maybe Thomas, you want to take the few next steps.
Yeah, just touching on that point, prior to this as well, like when we're looking at that day partitioning, usually we would spend out all of our daily budget by 9 o'clock in the morning for this brand. And we identified that obviously through diving into the data with Mike. And one of the things we did set up was obviously increasing our bids during 6 till 9 o'clock, decreasing them from 9 till 12, increasing them then from 12 till 3, and then decreasing them after lunchtime pretty much, because we knew that in relation to when the stores were open, we're not going to get as much footfall. We might get the downloads, but we want to be present and get people into the store to use the app straight away. So I guess moving on from that as well is, were you on point six there, Mike, when you finished up?
I guess it was the fifth one, but you definitely
Fifth
cover
one.
everything
That's
about the
fine.
custom product pages.
So I think when it comes to keyword expansion and keyword mining, it can be very mundane and quite boring, to be honest. But it is interesting when you look at it in terms of, I use the keyword gap and the CPP insight as well, just to see where our competitors are showing up, who they're showing up for, what share of voice have they got on search terms as well, and where can we actually fit in. Do we go after, I hate saying it, but the low hanging fruit, or do we go after the actual search terms where we know we're going to see that conversion? And how do we show up when we go after these search terms? And then with that as well, I think the best thing that you can do is integrate your MMP. I think every client of ours wants to know, right, they're not just going after installs, what happens once they're in the app. And if there is an in-app event that they are targeting, like a sign up or a first purchase, for example, you can automate everything to optimize towards that event. And that's what we want to do. We don't want to just be going after the cheap traffic and just, yeah, getting those installs to rank really high. We want valued customers, and we want that LTV from our users as well. And I think on top of that, just having those weekly syncs with Mike at SplitMetrics himself, like his insight and knowledge into the industry, he's like ourselves. He's like an extension of our team. He definitely comes to the calls with all of the knowledge and all of the insight that he takes away from, see, all of his other clients, but he doesn't tell us who they are because obviously it's confidential. But he definitely showcases his knowledge and sometimes brings like really good recommendations and stuff that we wouldn't even think about. So it's definitely good to have someone like that on your side, especially when you're growing clients who are spending a lot of money. And I think for best practices on bidding and parting, I think I've already mentioned all of this, but give it a go. Don't be scared to do it. I think there's nothing wrong with failing on this. I think the more experimentation you do and the more adventurous you are, the better you'll get. And like everyone says, there's no such thing as failing in marketing. It's just learn from it, move on, see what else you can do after that. And you're adopting new ways and new features, and hopefully internally you see those changes in terms of your efficiency as a team improve. I know earlier on the poll, a lot of you were down in the 20%. So let's get those numbers up and start less time doing the mundane and more time doing the fun stuff is what we enjoy doing. But yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure. And to be honest, sometimes our calls with Tom and the team looks just like a brainstorming session when we're thinking, okay, this is a strategy that we already tried. What else we can bring here, and what automation we can implement to make sure that this strategy will work. So it's this human factor when you have the idea, but then when it comes to execution, you can give it to the automation. So you don't need to waste like your time to do this manual routine all the time. And definitely about the continuous feedback loop. So what we, if we hesitant to start the automation, we can start with a small piece, automating like one ad group, one campaign. And if this is work, we can replicate it to more campaigns. Then we have some learnings from one channel, we can replicate it to another channel with the help of the automation as well. And definitely not be scared even of the new channels or channels that you tested before, because this is so fast shifting market. And for example, Apple ads, if you see, okay, it could be costly or something, you haven't tried it for a year or so, it definitely worth to give it a try to any channel that you tested but didn't proceed with the test or haven't tried yet, because at the end of the day, this could be high value channel that can bring you not only a lot of new users but a lot of quality users that can drive results, revenue, and profitability. And it's like step by step what we did to achieve this high level of automation on our accounts. But let's proceed with like the last few slides and see what is the learnings. And it's actually that something that we highlighted even at the beginning of the session, and something that our dear Thomas highlighted today, different Thomas, at the first session of this day, that this day is mainly under the guide of the human plus machine, how this could be a dream team. And this is actually it. When you combine it like the expertise, the ideas of the team, and then executing it with the help of the automation and AI. This is how can you not be frightened what AI can do to you and the automation, but actually find this as a supportive colleague or a supportive teammate that will make your life easier.
And yeah, I'd just second that, Mike. Don't be scared to use it. Don't be nervous to use it. And I think the results of what we've done here at Dentsu and what we continue to do speak for themselves. So I know I'm probably saying this to everyone in the industry. You're all going to go out and do it. So it's going to make my life even harder because it's going to become more competitive. So, but no, it'll be good to see more people because it'll just challenge us and make us better.
That's for sure. Like whenever, like if you won't be trying, you won't be getting the results. So it's all about the learning and repeating, and exactly like the cycle that you can see here, starting with automating something smaller, see the first results, audit and set the priorities, what you want to automate first, then uh, monitor how the thing's going, and then if everything goes smoothly, and we're sure it will, start with the expansion and tracking the results. So this is a cycle that will never fail you, and this is how you can start with small steps, even with automations, and then make sure that it making your life easier at the end of the day. And I guess the last one from us today. Yep. So this is maybe the final words from me, and I will pass the mic to Thomas. Yep. Combining the human expertise and automation, this is really a key to effective growth, and also making your life easier from both work and personal life, so you can dedicate more time to more strategic tasks and to yourself. But I'm also happy to pass the mic to Thomas.
Yeah,
What is your idea on this?
I would just. There's been a question in the chat. I think it's Ludmilla. Sorry, I can't pronounce your name. Apologies. But I think you still need that human touch. I know we've spoke a lot today about the AI and the automation. I feel that as user acquisition managers, that most of us probably are, or UA managers, however you want to call yourself, I think you still need to have that analysis because we're the customers at the end of the day. We know what customers want, and AI is still in very early days. I think there's still a long way to go. But I think the sooner you adopt it and the sooner you work with it as an extension rather than letting it do everything, I think you'll definitely see changes in your performance overall. But I think in terms of the ASO as well, I think when it comes to keyword mining, there's a lot of opportunity there with AI. Like we've said with the paid side of stuff, I wouldn't be comfortable using AI to make creative like screenshots just yet. I don't think it's there yet. You can tell when it's fake. I think eToro have used AI to make a full advertisement, and literally the first thing people say that's AI, and that's not what you want. You still need that human touch for everything you do because people still rely on that human to human relationship through brands as well.
Yeah,
That's it.
and I won't repeat Tom, but I would say that something that I would never hand over to AI is real communication and speaking to people. So, like having such wonderful, amazing partners as Dentsu and Thomas, and having this life and real conversations that lead to some bright ideas. This is something that definitely should stay between humans. Let's put it this way. And at the end of our session, we'll have a second quick poll about actually what is your main blockers uh, to scaling the profitability and growth. So maybe you find out something that you was never thinking about in the past, but during this session you was like, okay, wow, this is something that actually blocking me to drive more results to my campaign or something like this. We'll be more than happy to hear your thoughts.